of the century, woman of the century. You see such terms applied to so many today. Golfer of the century, composer of the century, right tackle of the century. That line no longer has any punch. But Western Europe's man of the 12th century, without doubt or controversy, has to be Bernard of Clairvaux. Advisor of popes, preacher of the Second Crusade, defender of the faith, healer of a schism, reformer of a monastic order, scripture scholar, theologian, and eloquent preacher. Any one of these titles would distinguish an ordinary man. Yet Bernard was all of these, and he still retained a burning desire to return to the hidden monastic life of his younger days. In the year 1111, at the age of 20, Bernard left his home to join the monastic community of Citeaux. His 5 brothers, 2 uncles, and some 30 young friends followed him to the monastery. Within 4 years, a dying community had recovered enough vitality to establish a new house in the nearby valley of Wormwoods, with Bernard as abbot. The zealous young man was quite demanding, though more on himself than others. A slight breakdown of health taught him to be more patient and understanding. The valley was soon renamed Clairvaux, the Valley of Light. His ability as arbitrator and counselor became widely known. More and more, he was lured away from the monastery to settle long-standing disputes. On several of these occasions, he apparently stepped on some sensitive toes in Rome. Bernard was completely dedicated to the primacy of the Roman see, but to a letter of warning from Rome, he replied that the good fathers in Rome had enough to do to keep the church in one piece. If any matters arose that warranted their interest, he would be the first to let them know. Shortly thereafter, it was Bernard who intervened in a full-blown schism and settled it in favor of the Roman pontiff against the anti-pope. The Holy See prevailed on Bernard to preach the Second Crusade throughout Europe. His eloquency was so overwhelming that a great army was assembled, and the success of the crusade seemed assured. The ideals of the men and their leaders, however, were not those of Abbot Bernard, and the project ended as a complete military and moral disaster. Bernard felt responsible in some way for the degenerative effects of the crusade. This heavy burden possibly hastened his death, which came August 20th, 1153. Bernard's life in the church was more active than we can possibly imagine today. His efforts produced far-reaching results, but he knew that they would have availed little without the many hours of prayer and contemplation that brought him strength and heavenly direction. His life was characterized by a deep devotion to the Blessed Mother. His sermons and books about Mary are still in the standard of Marian theology.